All right, here we are for wow number 6, and we're hitting it off right away this week with the word cred, which means believe. And we have a couple different examples here. An obvious one is the word credit. That's the belief that somebody will pay you back. So if it's a credit to someone, it means you think they're going to do it. Credulous then is you believe way too easily, almost like gullible. And then the opposite of that is incredulous, which is when somebody looks at you because they don't believe you, so they look at you incredulously. A good word to bring into your vocab. Then we have Incredible Hulk here. Incredible because we don't believe that this is possible. This is not believable that this normal sized man would then hulk out and still be able to fit into the same size pants. And finally, Assassin's Creed here as a symbol because creed is a word that refers to a set of beliefs or principles. I could have also thrown in a Rocky shout out with Apollo Creed, and then the more recent remake of Rocky, essentially, Creed, because it's the same belief that like the underdog can win. So moving on to our second set, we have Jur, Just, and Jude, which has to do with law or justice. And these are a little bit harder to find pictures of, but I was able to find this picture of a judge here, who obviously is a person who's supposed to interpret laws and decide on winners and settle controversies. Also have a jury because that is a group of people who are sworn to abide by laws to determine the truth. And Lady Justice here, the symbol, represents fairness and rightfulness. All sorts of other words. Perjury means to break the law by lying. To justify is to prove. So there's a lot of different words that have to do with this. They just don't make very good pictures. Okay, so then we're moving on to the prefix sub, which means under or below. So some obvious ones like subterranean. You also have, subway, not the eat fresh kind, but the thing that goes underground, which is why the restaurant's called that, because it started at subway stations. But anyway, you also have subordinates here. The person who's under someone else in rank or importance is called a subordinate. That's why you can be written up for insubordination because that means not doing what you're supposed to do when you're not the high-ranking person. And then I included this good quote here from Sun Tzu, who wrote the book The Art of War. And in this we have the word subdue. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Subdue meaning to bring under control. Again, these words this week are kind of hard to find a lot of good pictures for, but you can think of lots of things that have sub in them. Subconscious, sub-freezing, subject, submerge, stuff like that. Okay, and finally here we have super and sur, which are over, above, and beyond. And in this case, we have like an army surplus store. If you've ever gone there, they have the excess that's left over from the army because surplus means a quantity or amount over or above what is needed. It's extra. Oops. And then maybe if you're into art, you have studied surrealism and this famous painting by Salvador Dali called The Persistence of Memory. Surreal means something that's beyond what is real or believable or bizarre. And we're going to use the same picture here that we did for subordinates, because subordinate is when you're moving from the top down, but if we start from the bottom and move towards the top, we're now looking at our superiors here, having to do a super, or maybe you've been told super job, which means that you've gone beyond the expectations. And finally here, Superman is the easiest way to remember this word because he flies overhead. He goes above and beyond what the normal man would do. So he's a Superman. There, tied in 2 comic book heroes. I feel pretty proud of myself. I'm superb. So, anyway, these are your words for this week. I hope you have a good week.